Game development and game design can sound the same to an absolute beginner. These two things are different in a way. Game development involves development of a game, and game design involves making the ideas and showing off concepts through documents of the potential game. From the people I've met, this was around middle school and high school, people would usually think that all you need to make a great game was the idea. I used to think like this back then, but over time, as I started to learn more about computers and games, I realized that just having the idea is bad. The reason it is bad is because anyone can have any idea. You have ideas, I have ideas, and your friends have their own ideas. Plus, some ideas that you may have may not really seem all that appealing to someone else, and the same could be said the other way around. In order to have a better way to showcase your idea, the best way is to execute on it, which means developing it and then showing it off. In a development environment, everyone there's an idea person, but they can do stuff to contribute to a project than just giving out ideas. Now, having a unique idea is never a bad thing, but making sure that you can execute on it on the best way you possibly could is the best thing to have. But in order to do that, you need to learn how to make smaller ideas before moving on with your dream ones. Meaning, learning to make smaller games before moving on to bigger ideas you may have. These are the reasons why game development is better for a beginner than game design. The first is to learn the basics. Before you try to make a game, you need to know that it takes a lot to make any game, big or small title. Some examples would be programming, art, sound, UI, music, level design, and more. If you're making the game alone, you will most likely need to learn to program. Now, of course, it depends on the situation you are in, whether you are working with others or if you're doing something like art. It's good to have some basic knowledge of everything and what you use to make the game in order to get better at it and do things you want in the future. The second would be execution. Execution is the most important thing ever when it comes to game development. It doesn't matter how good an idea may be, if it is poorly executed, then the game will become poor. There have been many times with other games where the idea sounded amazing, but the execution was poorly done, which led to a bad game. There can also be a possibility where an idea sounds generic or weird, but with enough tests, it can end up being fun due to the great execution. Learning to execute ideas into reality will be the one thing that will make the game or break the game. The third is that it helps with visuals. With visuals, this will be done through development, and when you finally get to see what your idea will play, look, and feel like in a prototype. This helps to see if any idea is new, need to be reworked, added, or removed depending on the prototype. Prototypes are a great way to get friends and others interested into a game since they will get the idea from what is seen. This is also good for iterative developers since more can be built through the feedback given by friends and others interested. Having a visual for the game is much better than an idea, since it will have a much higher chance to draw more people in and help with what you're going for. The fourth is that it helps with seriousness. Having development for an idea you had shows that you've made progress, meaning you are serious about what you are doing. This is when other developers will not look at you as an idea person, but as a developer. Publishers and other students will be able to see proof of your abilities through your work, and your peers and other people will also take you seriously. And you'll be doing yourself the favor of gaining experience and becoming smarter through goals to be able to handle much more challenging tasks. This is good if you have an ambitious idea because you'll be able to execute it a lot better than if you didn't practice. However, you must know that everything takes time. Be sure to practice enough times before moving on to a completely crazy idea. Now for the takeaways of this video, the first is to learn the basics. This is important when it comes to doing anything. It's just like math. You need to learn to add and subtract before moving on to multiplying. The second is with execution. This is making the product and is one of the most important things that determine whether the game is good or bad. The third is with visuals. Showing prototypes is important since others will be able to see it, and this will be used to check what needs to be improved. And the fourth is with seriousness. More people will take you seriously since you are developing a product. I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave a like and subscribe if you learned something. I'll keep you updated for any news regarding my game, and leave a like on anything you'd like to hear me talk about next.